You guys, the NBA regular season is finally here. You know how happy that makes me. I know you're happy. I know most people watching this are going to be happy. We've been waiting for this back to be back for a few months. Even the bubble wasn't the same as the NBA regular season. So it's that time of the year where fantasy information comes starting out fast and furious. We got daily sports back again. I'm a happy camper today.
Yeah, same. We got bowl season upon us for college football fans, so a lot's going on right now to be excited about.
Yes, it is, guys. So let's do it, guys. Never forget to click the thumbs up button if you don't mind. It is the first regular season NBA show of the year. We'll be coming here all season long. Paying customers, members only, is already posted and ready to rock for you guys. We do have a couple guys who may or may not play, but nothing that's like overly glaring that's going to really affect too much how you view the slate right now. Just a couple potential pivots you may have to make tomorrow.
And if it does end up being more than we think, we'll come out with a new video tomorrow probably.
Yeah, I mean, again, nothing. It's the NBA, right? If all of a sudden Kevin Durant and Kawhi aren't playing, like, we will tell you about our adjustments.
No doubt.
You feel better about that not being a thing, though, opening night.
You have to, right? Like, you really have to feel better about it. It's one of the only nights of the year where you think, you know, the guys who are playing are safe, because if they were going to be out, you'd know it.
Like, I think LeBron rests this year more than ever in his career. Come on now, he ain't resting the first night, though.
No, it's not. What, resting from what?
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys, so we got a lot to talk about today. Our show sponsor is a website called overlaydfs.com. I got a link to their Twitter profile below. A lot of you guys have obviously heard us talking about them repeatedly over the past year plus. We will continue to talk about them. The matchup shop is going to be straight fire this year. I would encourage everybody to get over to overlaydfs.com if you want to have a little bit of fun. If you don't have time to run, massive amounts of NBA lineups. Another great thing for NBA specifically, like if you're busy with work or kids or, wives or husbands or whatever the heck it is that you have going on, but you still want some skin in the game that night, you don't have to worry about late swap on overlay. If something changes, that's just off the board and you get your money back.
Yeah, which is huge. Just talking earlier to some guys about how it's a big thing in NBA. You have to pay attention to everything going on if you're going to play for any substantial amount of money. Overlay makes it a lot easier on that.
Yeah, again, that's a big deal for NBA. You guys know. You guys have been playing this for a while for most of you. It's a really, really big deal, guys. All right. This is the time of the year where we get pretty much the vast majority of our new customers started the NBA season. The NBA package, I'm working on getting it up on the website. It's not up yet. There is a PayPal and a Venmo address below. If you want to send your payment in manually, I'm going to take 10 more spots at the $75 price range, and then we're moving it up to full price, which is going to be $120 for the full season. It covers every minute of the regular season, every write-up, every video. It will also cover the entirety of the postseason. Definitely going to make your money in the postseason right there alone. So you get all the regular season, everything to go along with it, a one-time $75 payment. It's going to be more expensive within a couple of days. If you want to take advantage, the PayPal and Venmo address are below. And for the rest of the day, it is the last little bit of 25% off lifetime memberships. $300 instead of $400. That's a one-time payment. Every sport that we cover, permanently moving forward with no future payments.
Let's get it, man. Let's break this slate down. I'm pumped.
Yes, guys. Get your write-up in the write-ups. And then I want to talk about the new format this year. If you didn't check it out during the preseason, and some of you guys are just back here to listen to the regular season stuff because you don't want to mess with the preseason, I get that. So what we're doing this year, we've always done 4 plays, and you pick 2, I pick 2. But this year we're going to run it a little bit differently. We're going to bump up the free information for you guys to 5 plays. I'm going to do my favorite cash guy, or at least one of my favorite cash guys. You'll do one of your favorite GPPs. Then we got a mutual favorite that we'll meet in the middle and talk about him. And then I'll do what I consider one of my long shot plays of the day, at least somebody I expect to come in at lower ownership. Maybe long shot won't always be the right term, but a guy we expect to be a little lower owned. And then you'll go through yours. It'll be 5 picks for you guys, and everything else is available on the members only video for paying customers.
Yeah, there's a lot of info. Man, it just feels like it's such a good time with NBA starting. It just, the sports are back, man. Next thing you know, we're going to have MLB.
That's pretty well. All right, guys, cash game play of the day. The young baby-faced assassin himself, Steph Curry, is the first guy that I will lock in from a bigger money standpoint on the slate. So we do have a lot of quote-unquote studs for a 2-game slate. You got Kevin Durant, you got Kyrie Irving, Steph Curry, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Anthony Davis, LeBron. There are quite a few guys at your disposal. My favorite overall guy, though, is going to be Steph Curry. So reason behind that, number one, unlike some of the guys from the LA teams, the Warriors gave Curry very solid preseason run in his final 2 games. He got to play a good number of minutes to help him get in shape, hit the ground running. And unlike the Lakers, who are like basically a lock to make the playoffs, the Warriors, without Klay Thompson, are probably going to be battling it out for one of those lower seeds in the West. They can't afford to not hit the season running and get rolling. If you're looking for motivation, I don't personally think you need it night one a ton because a lot of these guys are itching to get out there. But if you want it, man, you don't think Steph's in the mood to go up against his former stomping ground partner, KD, and another dynamic dribbling three-point shooting point guard in Kyrie Irving? If you're looking for the motivation, there's another reason to have it right there. One of my favorite points, though, too, this Nets team is new. You're now trying to incorporate a Kyrie Irving who barely played last year and Kevin Durant who hasn't played basketball in a hot minute. I think the switching for the Nets is going to be a little bit behind. I think the defensive rotations, they definitely take some work in order to get those things running at full cylinder. I think Curry's going to get some open shots tomorrow. And if there's one thing I know about Steph Curry, he's very good at hitting some shots. Also, every other superstar runs with another superstar. He's the only one out there kind of doing this thing on his own, which is great for his usage rate.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't get much better than Steph on opening night after he'd been out for a while, again, with no Klay, no Draymond. He's definitely the alpha of this team. They have some decent secondary pieces, but no one that's even close to Steph in terms of his ability to score. A lot to like here. You got the motivation against KD, his old running mate, against Kyrie, a guy who took a title right from him in Cleveland. Just a lot to like about Steph here. And not the least of which being that he's really good and he's very affordable at 9,300.
Yeah, he is pretty good. Last time I checked, this guy might have a few chips and a few MVPs under his belt.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're going to switch over to a guy named Paul George, and this is your top GPP player of the day, or at least one of your favorite GPP plays of the day. And I will let you tell the public what it is that you like about the young man.
So, again, talked about Curry's price point. Well, $1,500 cheaper, you got a guy in Paul George, who I know people are down on, after a disappointing postseason last season. He's heard all the rumblings this year, this, whole quarantine, after quarantine, whatever you want to call it. The thing about it is, though, when he's healthy and, when it's not the postseason, I guess, he's a fantasy all-star, and he's very affordable at 7,800. You don't like that he's only shooting guard eligible. That's about all I don't like here. He's a guy that can fill up the stat sheet. Massive game for the Clippers here. Much bigger for the Clippers than the Lakers. I expect the Clippers to play well here. And it starts with their two studs, Kawhi and Paul George. George is just much cheaper and can do many of the same things Kawhi can do.
I'm actually going to touch on the shooting guard position. What I don't like is that I don't think he should only be shooting guard eligible. I don't even think that's his actual position. But as far as the position eligibility, shooting guard is one of the weaker positions on the board. So yeah, it's only one spot eligible, but if you're looking for a reason to play him, there's multiple power forwards, there's multiple centers, there's multiple point guards. There's not a lot of depth at the shooting guard position in the slate, which does make him more desirable.
Mm-hmm. No doubt about it.
All right, next up, cover boy for the day, our mutual favorite play, Montrezl Harrell. I am a monster fan of his on the slate. One, he's too damn cheap. I don't want to make it that simplistic because I feel like that's lazy. But let's just start right there. He is too cheap based on who he is and what he is capable of doing. We liked him in the preseason when these teams matched up. All he did was run into 19-11, 3-2, and 13-12, 2-2. I don't put a ton of stock into the preseason, but what I liked about him is he looked aggressive. He looked assertive. He looked like the guy that we know him used to be. And again, I am not a big narrative guy. I talk about that all the time. I still love this one, though. He left on bad terms from the Clippers. You heard the quote. He's like, well, I'm not there, so that shows you how much they wanted me back. I think I like a hustle guy like that. Sometimes I don't like shooters in that situation because the hands are a little bit shaky, but a guy who does it on putbacks and rebounds and blocks and steals, I got to give me a big hell yes on that one.
Yeah, another guy that's just way too cheap, man. I know you mentioned it here with a couple exclamation points, and it's the truth. Everything we liked about him in the preseason when he was in this matchup, we only like more now. It's the regular season. Yes, yes, and yes to all your points. We both agree on this. Probably, actually, definitely our favorite play on the slate.
Yeah, and another reason to like him, you mentioned that this game's bigger for the Clippers. I agree wholeheartedly. I don't think the Lakers trying to push LeBron too early, right? Like LeBron is an all-time great, but he is getting older. He did not look like he was up to perfect shape in the preseason, which is, that's fine, right? Like this guy is still going to be ready to roll here in the next couple of days. He'll play well tomorrow night, I'm sure. But I don't think they're trying to give LeBron 40 minutes in game one. I don't think they're trying to push Anthony Davis too much in game one. This game does not mean nearly as much to the Lakers as it does from the Clippers. They are the current champions. If they lose this game, it means absolutely nothing. I like that better for some of the secondary pieces like a Montrezl Harrell. You got Schroeder in there with a little bit of an ankle sprain as well. I think Trez Eats, I like him a ton in this spot. We can move on, but I mean, just all sorts of reasons to like him.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% here.
All right, so next we're going to move into the long shot plays of the day. Guys that we don't expect to be like on everybody's roster. Guys that are going to be a little bit of a riskier play. I'm going to talk about Kent Bazemore of the Golden State Warriors. And he is my long shot of the day. If we come on the show tomorrow or 2 days after this or whatever, and he busted, I ain't surprised. This is not supposed to be a pick that's like a surefire thing like what we think about Montrezl Harrell. So Bazemore's been around for a while. We've seen him switch teams a few different times. If you've been playing DFS for any extended period of time, you know who Kent Bazemore is. A chalky Kent Bazemore is a guy that sometimes you might want to run away from. The flip side of that is, out of nowhere, sometimes this guy throws up 40 DK points. You're like, that wasn't even on my radar. Why? Because his three-point shooting comes and goes. This is the kind of guy, like, all of a sudden you see him, he's got like 6 steals in a game because he can be aggressive. You can also see him, all of a sudden he's out there for 2 minutes and he picks up 3 fouls. So he's a little bit of a Swiss Army knife type of player. He can be a point guard. He can be a power forward. He can be everything in the middle. I do not know what the Warriors' rotation is going to look like game one, but we're very unlikely to see Draymond Green. I know that Curry, Wiggins, and Oubre will play their solid minutes, but he reminds me a lot of maybe a little bit of a lesser Kelly Oubre that can come in and run alongside of him or for him. I like the potential upside right here. Maybe the game turns into a blowout and he sees extra minutes right there too. But it's not not a pick that I feel safe with.
Yeah, I agree. I like the call out. I mean, it's our long shot for a reason. Obviously, you're not going to feel safe with them, but they're going to need, guys to step up with the absence of specifically Klay Thompson. Draymond, not too much from the offensive end, but Klay Thompson for sure. We know about Wiggins and Oubre, but I think Bazemore is one of the next guys up for them. I think this is a guy that they're going to need to play well. He's very affordable at 4,300, and I think other guys in this price point get more love. And there's no reason to say that he couldn't outscore guys like, Joe Harris or other guys in this range.
Yeah, I do think he comes with a wide preponderance of potential points right here. Like, I am not going to be surprised if he scores similar DFS points to Wiggins and Oubre. I am not going to be surprised if Kent Bazemore has 3 DK points. Like, there is a wide gap of what this guy is capable of doing, especially night one, when we don't know what Kerr and the rotation is going to look like. So you're taking some chances, but a bunch of these teams got a bunch of new players. It's night one. That's why let's have some fun.
Yeah, for sure. Would you agree that even his minutes are unknown here?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised by 32 or 8.
Yeah, agreed.
So we'll see. It should be fun, though. All right, next up, we're moving to this is your long shot play of the day. At least with your long shot play, I feel better about his minutes.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, man. Feel better about his minutes. He is like $1,000 more expensive. So you need that because when you're paying over $5K for someone, it's nice to at least have the minutes. The more I look at this slate and talk this over with you, the more I like Lou Williams, man. Like, he's a guy that I know you're a huge fan of in general. And I can even tell you're kind of down on him for no other reason than just how he played in the bubble. The recency bias is real. I have no argument to that. The only thing I'll say is that he was having a really good year before the bubble. They're going to need his scoring off the bench, especially with no Trez. I mentioned that this is a much bigger game for the Clippers. I like their big guys. I like George. I like Kawhi. I like Lou Williams. When I say they're big guys, I mean their best players. Obviously, you can look at a couple of their bigger forwards and centers too, but that's not what I'm talking about here. I just think they're going to need his scoring. We know that he's a walking bucket. He's 5,400. And if nothing else, and I know you'll agree with this, if absolutely nothing else, it gives us an opportunity to say Lemon Pepper Lou.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. The greatest nickname that we've heard in many, many years, Lemon Pepper Lou. Last bullet point too, Kawhi Leonard, the last time that we saw this guy playing in a serious game, he was running up and down the court gassed, looking like me running after the ice cream truck. You know what I mean? Did not look like he was in shape. I can't picture Kawhi being in such good shape right now that he's capable of running this team for 36, 38 minutes. I think they're going to have to let Lou kind of come in and do that. They don't have a real point guard. Patrick Beverley, he's a great defender, but he's not your prototypical point guard. Reggie Jackson is. I mean, he's more of a two guard anyway, kind of masquerading as a point guard. So Lou will always have a role on this team as long as he's on the team. And I do think that they're going to need him. And I'm kind of with you in the sense that I wasn't really looking at him too hard when the slate started. But the more we talked it over, like, what do I feel better about, Lou Williams at 5,400 or, some of the other guys a little bit less? And I think you can find a way to get him in your lineup. I think the shooting guard eligibility is big. I do agree. This is another game where it's bigger for the Clippers. And you're right. I do like Lou. It is hard. Like, your eyes can lie to you in DFS, right? It'd be like, oh, he played well. And then you're like he didn't have any DFS points. And my eyes keep thinking about the bubble where Lou didn't play well. But I also like Montrez, who played like garbage. And I saw him play better in the preseason. So maybe it's in my mind. There's no reason Lou couldn't just fall out of bed tomorrow and be more like the guy that we've seen for the last 10 to 15 years.
Now, maybe, no Montrezl Harrell hurts Lou, and he just doesn't have as good of a year. It's not like a guarantee here, but I'll just go back to the price point. Like 5,400 for the guy. His upside is like 40 plus DK points.
Yeah, maybe he's motivated. Maybe he comes in and he plays well. He did not want to be in the bubble, which is like a bunch of the Clippers then. But I know that they talked about trading him in the offseason because, obviously, most of you guys have heard the talk about the Clippers, right? Like, a lot of the players didn't like how all of a sudden Paul George and Kawhi walked in, always late, didn't want to put in the work, just kind of thought they could roll into a championship. Meanwhile, Lou Williams, a small stature guy who's been doing it in the NBA for 15 years, he wanted the work ethic, and maybe he's out there to prove something.
Yeah, no doubt about that, man.
We freeze up?
Yeah, we froze up for like 1 second, but I completely agree. And I'll just say this, like, to your point, the guys that are a little bit cheaper, he might have the highest point per dollar upside of anyone on the slate. Harrell's right there too, but Lou is right there.
Yeah, last time we saw Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell, they were in the bubble playing for the Clippers, arguments among teammates, not ready to roll, didn't want to be there. Could be a new year. Again, Harrell's got a new team, but there's no reason it couldn't be a brand new year for Lou Williams just based off of what it was in the bubble, which was maybe a bit more of an aberration because that's not who we know. Lou Williams is 100 years old? We've been watching this guy walk into buckets now for a real long time.
For sure. No doubt about it, man. Yeah. And he was he was a rookie with AI. So he's been in the league for a while.
Shut up. Really?
Yeah, I swear. On Philly, yes, man. He has been in the league a while. He came straight out of high school. Pull it up real quick before we finish this up.
Lou Williams. All right. Yeah, man. 2005, 2006. I was a young man back then. I was still binge drinking on a nightly basis, having fun, chasing girls. And here I am, 40 years old now. Man, he's younger than he feels like, too, because he came in so young.
Yeah, he came in out of high school. I think he was like a second-round pick, so he didn't get like too much. He was like one of those, like Kobe or one of those guys. But yeah, he's damn near like 15 years in the league.
Yep. Been on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different teams.
I do not remember him on Houston.
It was quick. It wasn't that long ago. Remember, I think he just got traded there from the Lakers. He played 23 games, and it was in the second half of that season a few years ago. And then he's been on the Clippers for the past 3.
Yeah, for sure. I would definitely not think of that if I were having to memorize, say what teams he was on.
Yeah, I only remember because it was recent. I think the one that I probably would have forgotten about is Atlanta. Because I remember him for Toronto, even though it was only one season, but I think I would have forgot about the Atlanta days.
I remember him from Toronto for sure, because also Drake came out with a song called Sixth Man with a bunch of Lou Will references.
Okay, gotcha. I'm not a big Drake guy, so I wouldn't have caught that.
That's fair.
All right, guys. If you can, day one, we appreciate everybody clicking the thumbs up button if we can. Happy holiday as the start of the NBA season. And then again, we actually have, real holidays to what some people call, but to me, this is the bigger holiday this week.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.